Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to episode 103 of Two Goalies, One Mic. The draft has come and gone. Day 2 ended today with Buffalo making all of their picks. Kind of surprising to me a little bit, but they've restocked the pipeline. They're very deep down the middle. Surprisingly took a goalie early in the second round, which I didn't necessarily agree with. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the draft. And I'm joined by Kyle Quick, friend of the program, multiple time guest without Cully tonight, but who cares? So
maybe a better show not getting cut off tonight. We're good.
Oh my God. Listen, like, don't tell him I told you this. So we had Chris Peters on the other day from formerly Daily Face Off, now with Flow Hockey. Somebody commented on the episode. Will the guy with the beard shut the fuck up? I'm trying to.
That's awesome.
I pissed my, and like before I could even fully finish reading the tweet, I had 200 people send me the tweet.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I love Johnny, but he gets
he loves to talk.
He gets going. Just talks. Yeah, no, I think it's surprising the Sabres made all the picks too. You would think they would have again moved for possibly a goalie for next year, but again, I think they're sticking to their plan. And that's good to see, I would say, just with everything they've done in the past where they've reached, and, then it's caused more of a headache in this 12, 15-year rebuild we're in now. So,
yeah. Did you happen to see, I don't know if you saw this video, he was interviewed during the draft, director of amateur scouting, Jerry Fortin. Yeah. He was asked at the draft about Kevin Adams and just his ability to kind of bring the franchise back together. And like halfway into his night, he had to stop himself. There's a long pause, and the guy got like really, really emotional, almost in tears, because Fortin's kind of been here through all of this, like this dumpster fire, right? Like, he's seen what the organization was and what it's become. And he said, this guy has literally, like, he lets us do our jobs. He's brought this entire franchise together. It's like, almost like it's a happier environment to come work to. Like, he's completely changed the culture, which I don't think anybody really expected that to be the case when they first hired him. I know I was critical. I said that they brought in Kevin Adams to be a yes man. And, I was wrong. And he really has brought this team together. Brought this franchise together from staff down to the janitor to the player, whatever it might be. And I couldn't be more happy. And his emotion just coming out in that interview really speaks to that, because just like the guy cares. He really cares. And it shows in his emotion. And that's just like almost a decade of just bullshit just finally getting resolved in that interview for him.
Well, again, it goes back to who was it Darcy? When Darcy changed the scouting staff, and again, this is where it all started, when Darcy changed the scouting staff to video scouting. Yeah. And took boots off the field. I mean, it's just, you can't watch a kid on video and be like, oh, this kid's good. It's just not even close. And again, it's good to see them really investing in the Carmanos, the analytics, the scouts, having the right people in place. I think that's what's turning things around. And then that is spreading to the team, because again, then the players start to understand, okay, well, management is supporting the scouting staff. It's just a trickle down effect. And I think Kevin's doing a really good job with that. And again, I would say when they hired him, I think everyone was kind of like, uh-oh. Yeah. And it's, he's doing a great job. No one can knock him on that.
No. My only criticism, and I guess you can't really call it a criticism because I was high on him. Maybe Kevin wasn't. I was really upset with the pick of the goalie early in the second. I thought there was better options there. especially Lane Hudson from the
Lane. Yeah, he's a really good skater.
You watch that kid play. There was a clip of him on YouTube where it's not him scoring.
Couple years ago, yeah.
45 seconds of him holding onto the puck and him just weaving through traffic and just like, I get it. He's 5'8". I understand. Defenseman, you want to be, have bare minimum 5'10", 5'11". But like the kid has just skill coming out of his ears. His hockey IQ is through the roof.
I texted. He went to Montreal. I texted Molson about him today, and he was like, we're pleased that he fell to them." Was he 61? I think he went.
Yep.
And
it's crazy
how much he slipped. But again, I mean, like I get like the number one thing you said in that is size, and all the skill he has. Like it's hard sometimes for these guys to project where he lands in that game at that size because he's not playing the guys who can skate with him right now. So it's hard to say where he's going to project, but his skill is unbelievable. And again, the only reason he slid that much is because of the size, which is kind of ridiculous this day and age, but it happens, and that's just the way it is. But yeah, I agree. Again, I mean, I'm surprised you said that about the goalie because honestly, like I would say like this draft was very thin at goalie, and I think our prospects right now are good. But what I read on this kid is, 6'5", 230, takes up net, best prospect, moves well. I think there's something there. It's just a reach because no one else drafted their goalie for like.
Well, I'm not upset about Tobias. I like him. I think there's a shot there. I think he has a high ceiling. I just think he's more of a project right now. He's not a guy that you're going to see in the national for 3
Well, the
years.
question is, again, I would go back, like we're talking at that time, like, you're talking about 41, but I think last year was the year they should have taken the goalie from Steve Yzerman took him, the big kid.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember.
You know who? I can't think of the name, but they took him in the second round. That goalie that Stevie Y took last year, I think that was the guy.
Yeah.
And again, like I think kind of like they kind of were getting some, cold feet. Like if we don't take a guy, like, what are we doing, type thing. And, again, I think they stick to their plan. And, if that was their guy that they had, then, good. It's just like I agree with. There were a lot of skill guys around that area.
Yeah, and I saw this today. It was brought to my attention on Hudson. A report from Hutton's endocrinologist indicated his bone age is delayed relative to his biological age, which means his frame still has more than a full year of additional bone growth to go. It's something that I thought I'd share with them, Hudson said. And they're like, oh, that's good. We're glad you came prepared. I think every question in the room is usually about my side. It's the obvious thing, but I'm not too worried about it either way. So this kid allegedly will grow a little bit more. So what if this kid spouts up 2 more inches and ends up 5'10" by this time next year? A lot of people are like, well, fuck, I wish I would have taken him, at 61 or 60 or 59.
Yeah.
And for me, like I was salivating at the opportunity of him falling to the second. And I'm like, Kevyn Adams is known to trade up for a player, and I still can't believe he fell that far behind Buffalo at 41. I'm just like, I'm blown away by that.
Well, again, it's to what I said though. Like a lot of these guys, scouts and all that, be the best player, but if you're not a certain size, they're told they can't even look at certain kids that aren't a certain size. I mean, honestly, it's crazy. But again, I think you're spot on with that one. I think again, the Sabres, the 1D I really wanted the Sabres to get, Chicago got at 25, Renzel.
Yeah. That
kid is elite. And if he would have fell to 28, I would have been curious to see if he was, there for them. If that was someone they were going to take, because, I watched him at national camp last year in Buffalo, and he made the Lanka team, and he was out of Minnesota high school, kind of, new on the scene because COVID, and you should have seen how many people were like, holy crap, who is this kid? And skates well, moves the puck well, gets up in the play, is very responsible defensively, good stick, good outlet pass. It was like, that's the one that I would say, like, the 25 to 28 range. Like it's like, and I think Chicago traded for that pick to get back up.
I don't know what Chicago's doing, Kyle. Like,
I mean, you gotta sit here and be like, again, I got a text last night being like, is King gonna stay there? And it's like, I mean, and again, I mean, there were reports this year that he was they were looking to move him. Now it's like they traded his best friend into DeBrincat. It's like, how many times can a team trade his best friend or his best line mate and him be like, oh, great, here we go. Who do I get next?
Yeah, it's just like, and Grant, he's not done, man. He still has a lot of good years in front of him. Like, he's not done being a 90-plus point player.
Well, the question is, like, I mean, and again, like, do you think – I was asked last night, like, where do you think he ends up? And then the question, do you think he would come to Buffalo? I mean, does he fit where we need to be in the next 2-3 years?
I mean, does he move the needle? Absolutely. But, like, I've heard from people, yourself included, that he's not maybe necessarily interested in coming to Buffalo, just outside of – you've seen what's happened to him, away from the game when he's come home to Buffalo. There's, like – the controversy that's going to surround him. I tend to agree with the kid. Why would you want to put yourself in that type of spotlight in Buffalo? You know what I mean? Like, but in the same breath, you have to imagine, and you would know this too, more than maybe anybody, growing up as a Sabres fan, you're in your driveway, you're pretending that you're Mo Gilney or Lava.
And again, for him, it's his family's here. He's got a kid. Like, he's going to be playing hockey. His dad's going to be around the kid. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. And that's the reason I would say that he would look at coming here, be close to a family and, growing up being a Sabres fan and all that. I could see him wanting to kind of end here. But the question is, does he want to win another cup? And are we there yet? And again, you watch the playoffs. Obviously, the answer is not yet.
We're worlds away from where Tampa and
Colorado. And again, like, I know he's interested in playing with Panarin again, so the Rangers could be in play, but they're in cap struggle. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But they're a dumpster fire right now. I mean, it's crazy what they're doing.
Yep. Producer Steve hopping on with us. Thanks, bud, for joining the program. Just talking about what the fuck the Chicago Blackhawks are doing, telling their fans that they're rebuilding and in the same breath trading away all their youth.
They're tearing down to the studs in a spectacular fashion. Usually a team doesn't do it quite this quick. And usually they don't do it with the younger players. Usually you'd imagine like their two older, most valuable assets, and Kane and Taves would probably be the ones saying sayonara. But maybe they did this to more or less force them out the door. Like, if there's literally no youth talent in the active NHL roster anymore because DeBrincat's gone, Doc's gone, you're paying Seth Jones an arm and a leg to play pretty average defense, in my opinion, right now. Like, he's not terrible, but he's definitely not worth the money you're paying for. He's not even close to worth what you're paying for. Like, he's like 2 years ago Jeff Skinner, where it's like, this is $9 million worth of play. Yeah. I'm not so sure about that. But yeah, I mean that would be like the 40 chess mindset that I could think of, that like if you move the only positive pieces you have youth-wise out the door, that makes literally anybody that's an asset
say, I want to go.
It's like, I'm not sticking around for this. Like, you're not just rebuilding. You're tearing this house down and building a new one.
Now, for me too, maybe their mindset is with not trading them first is because maybe they're looking at next year's draft, the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. So in my opinion, that's the better draft, the deeper draft, the more talented draft. And that's maybe where you want to try and stockpile your picks. Maybe that's what they're looking towards. And again, I don't know, man. I just, you lose Hagel at this past season at the deadline. You lose Brinkat, you lose Doc, which in my opinion, I don't understand. Kirby Doc didn't have the season that you would have hoped for, but the guy was hurt quite a bit. And he's a third overall pick. I mean, you don't give up on a third overall pick that quick. I mean, look at Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett, I believe, was the 3rd overall pick. Look how long it took him to get his motor going. He found a new team down in Florida, and he's thriving, absolutely thriving down there. So sometimes it takes a few years to get these guys going, and again, injury kind of played into it for his season. So I don't know, man. I tend to believe that. Personally, I think Chicago deserves everything they get, my opinion. But it is a head scratcher for
pretty
sure.
crazy what they just did. I mean,
yeah, 100%.
I'm not sure if we could say that it's unprecedented, like historically throughout the league, but it's definitely unprecedented for this cap era to just take the
get rid of everything.
Players of
literally
the only young players of any value and just toss them out the door. But to that end, I mean, at least for next year's draft, they didn't really acquire too many picks for the next year's draft. Like they acquired a whole ton for this year. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They've got 9 for next year, but I mean, there are still people that can make their way out the door that could lead to some more firsts and seconds. Cade and Taves are the obvious ones. Brett Connolly still has some value out there. Kubalik isn't half bad. Taylor Radish is a young guy who's got an upside that has yet to be fully realized. Maybe somebody's foolish enough to take on the Seth Jones contract. Stranger things have happened. I mean, Jake McCabe is a perfectly serviceable mid-pairing dude. Obviously their goaltenders right now are not much to sniff at when right now their only signed netminder is Peter Mrazek, who they just traded for.
That's funny.
And the only other 2 dudes in the pipeline are Lankinen and Colin Dahlia. So, I mean, they could potentially translate those into more picks in next year's infinitely more deep draft. But, yeah, it's truly wild. And my dad has been a Blackhawks fan his whole life. He's at a loss. He's just, who do I even watch next year?
Before we get to the recap of the Sabres draft, just thoughts on Shane Wright dropping to 4. Now, not that it was unheard of that it could happen. It was definitely a possibility. A lot of people actually had Logan Cooley at the top of their draft boards, which I was one of those guys too. I'm a huge Logan Cooley guy. I think Arizona made out like bandits this draft, getting both him and Cutter, 2 kids that really carried that U.S. development program the past couple of years. Great draft by Arizona, and surprisingly enough, Logan even said after going 3rd, like, this is where I actually wanted to go. Like, I don't know. I don't know if wants to play in a college arena.
Yeah, I think, again, with the Shane Wright thing, and someone said that, he was quoted, and this is before the draft, that he earned the right to go number 1. Obviously, it sounds like, I'm not going to say it, but it sounds like he's got, that Jack Eichel mindset, which isn't going to build a locker room. So I bet that was found out, and people started digging and probably found some things they didn't like.
Possibly, yeah.
And again, because you see these kids come up, and, I was talking to someone about it. My boss from St. Louis called today, and he's like, what's going on? Like, why are there so many Euros being taken? What in the first round? I think, what do you say, 17? I'm not sure if that is, I don't know if that's the right number, but said 17. And again, me thinking about it, to be honest with you, coaching these age groups over the last 5 years, the mindset and the entitlement factor of these kids is a big factor. And, I feel like these Euros, they put their nose to the stone and they grind. I mean, there's it's tough life over there. It's not like we have it here. And I think that's a big factor in what we're going to see in the next, I would say the next couple years of the draft, not just this year, because the entitlement of these age groups coming through from North America is not good. With the social media and everyone pumping their tires that they're the best thing. And it's not good because these kids are not working hard. When you have a fall off, I would say, and again, it's not like Wright had a bad year, but when you have a fall off, something tells me you didn't put the work in the summer to maintain what you were. And that's another red flag. So what is it? And again, if you have the mindset, I already earned number 1, and that's your mindset, well, are you gonna work hard in the NHL? Like, I don't know.
Well, did you see? Hold on, I forget who was it. I believe the Lightning took him. He was wearing
The kid, the best dressed kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the comments he made, but I don't know if you saw. Did you see Jágr's comments?
No.
Hold on, I gotta bring it up.
Or I'm the best looking or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the best looking guy in this draft, so I thought I'd be the best dressed.
Yes. I did.
And Jágr in response was like, man, if this kid came up in the 90s, someone would rearrange your face.
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotta find it here. Hold on. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. It's like if you were in the league in 1990, your face would get rearranged. Pretty much what Jágr commented on the Instagram.
Well, but again, it goes like that's what I'm saying. Like it's an entitlement. It really is. Like, I mean, I don't want to attribute it to certain like programs around the country, in development of youth. But like you can go certain places and these kids are told they're the best thing from 10 years old on.
Mm-hmm.
And their parents are telling them they're great. Their coaches don't even tell them boo. The organizations are letting them play for free. I mean, like it's crazy what is going on in youth hockey. And that is translating to what we saw, I would say, yesterday with the draft overall.
100%.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the kids that are coming up in the draft these days are just simply growing up in a whole different world. Like, kids drafted in the 90s, they weren't able to put their highlights up on TikTok and Instagram and have tens of thousands of people go, yo, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Their whole teenage life. Like they weren't told their entire childhood, you're the biggest fucking thing since sliced bread. Like these are just kids that grew up with a love for the game, and it's just like, this is the only thing I want to do, so I'm just going to do it as hard as I possibly can. Where, like, I don't know, like, I don't know, it's tough to say, but, like, yeah.
Well, again, just the way that Shane Wright, like, looked at the Montreal Canadiens table, like dude, like, again, like, I mean, like, the NHL's been around a lot longer than you've been around. So, like, you're not the first kid to drop. Like, I understand you have that chip on your shoulder, but like, it's a little bizarre the way that went down. Like, it's really, honestly, it's just, I don't know. I have a Jack Eichel feeling with that kid.
Jágr's comment there at the bottom. I think I'm the best looking guy here, so I decided to be the best dressed. No guy, the guy looked phenomenal. I loved his get up. But Jágr goes, hockey has changed. The kid is lucky it's not 1990. Big guys would change his face. It's never change, Jágr. Please just never, ever, ever change. That's hilarious.
I think Claude Lemieux would have had fun with this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
best dressed, huh, man? That's pretty cute.
Yeah.
I was rocking a turtleneck like when you were just a thought in your dad's brain.
Oh, man. I mean, even now, Shane Wright still isn't even – I would make the argument that Shane Wright still isn't even the best prospect on his new team. Like, Matty Beniers, Jesus fucking Christ, that kid's a stud and a half. Mm-hmm. We all just saw the year that he had at Michigan. It's like – so, like, I hope in his development there's something where he is humbled and, like, he gets onto a team where they don't think he's the best thing since sliced bread. And maybe he has to play on the second line instead of the first line. Maybe – hopefully a coach makes him fucking earn it. Maybe a coach feels the same way you do. That just like, yeah, you're fourth overall. That's great and all, but like every other guy on this squad has earned their fucking spot. You're going to do the same thing. You're not special just because you went on the stage in Montreal. But I mean, if it were me personally, I'd rather live in Seattle than Montreal. But I also don't want to learn French. So
yeah.
Yeah, I just
I think I'll like it there. I'd like Seattle, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that, again, entitled, but now, hopefully he does play with a chip on the shoulder and, he translates that into success. Yeah, translates that into success. Speak English, man.
One thing before we hop on, one of the Buffalo kids got drafted, Joey Muldowney, 5th round to the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, I heard
played
that.
for Nichols. played 5 years at the Regals, 16U for the Sabres and Nichols this year. Again, the kid, I'll tell you guys, like, talk about a kid who's earned it, was never on the best team, was always undersized, works out like a madman. I mean, rips the puck. I think he had 50 plus tucks this year. You know, decided to stay at Nichols, get his diploma this year instead of going to the USHL. You know, slow his development time, handle the puck, develop the right way, and gets drafted and rewarded. I mean, talk about like a really good Buffalo story. Like, that kid has earned that, and it's, you know, it's amazing to see. You know, those are the kids you want in hockey. Like, he's someone that's gonna, you know, do well because he just does it the right way.
Agreed.
So.
And, you know, again, coming out of that Regals program, especially since you've kind of taken things over, you guys have produced quite a few, you know, future NHL hockey players. You know, Ritz Cohen, you know, there's a lot of high hopes for both of them.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned them to others too before on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we had Jack Hughes. I mean, not one of your kids. We had Jack Hughes on the podcast this past week. Went to LA. He went to LA.
51st. Yeah.
Yep, and couldn't be happier for me. He's a good spot up there, and, you know, not a bad idea, not a bad living in LA. You know, like, good for him.
No,
but he's going to play this year at Northeastern, and, you know, hopefully try and get them back in the conversation, playing the Bean Pop. Hopefully have a good year there. But to get right into the Sabres draft, Matthew Savoy was a kid that was on a lot of people's boards for the Sabres to go at 9. And I when I watched a little bit more of him going into day one, kind of like doing my homework a little bit, he reminds me a lot of Danny Briere. He compared himself to Braden Point. He thinks he plays that type of style of hockey. But before his time, you know, Braden Point was Danny Briere. And those are the vibes I got from watching him. Just his intensity, his vision, that finishing ability, the shot, the way he skates, screams Danny Briere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, again, he jumped to the USHL last year when Canada had the COVID lockdown, played for Dubuque, and just lit it up. And again, he obviously had a good year in the dub this year as well. But, you know, again, for a kid as an 04 to put up those numbers last year in the USHL, I mean, is pretty outstanding. And he is, I mean, again, gets to the tough areas, does the right things. I mean, plays this the right way. And, again, really good player. I'm very happy with that pick. That was a really good pick from the Sabres.
Yep. Looking here at his Elite Prospects page this past year with the Winnipeg Ice, 90 points in 65 games. Again, phenomenal first year with second year with Winnipeg. Played 22 games the year before. But like you said, in the USHL as an 04, 38 points in 34 games. Good playoff performer too this year with Winnipeg as well, 12 points in 10 games. But again, man, just like I love that they went center for the first 3 picks. Again, I was upset again, as I mentioned before, with the goalie pick to start the second round. Maybe some people aren't, and some people seem to think that might signify that Portillo won't sign. I tend to disagree because he is going to be here this week for development camp and the prospects tournament. So I don't think that's a foregone.
Again, like, the thing with, like, people saying that, like, he is probably one of the best opportunities to make it here. Like, why would you not sign him? Like, they're going to give him every opportunity to make it here. So, again, people are, you know, it's just, you know, it's because of the Cal Peterson thing. They're
still jaded by it. They're still jaded by it. And Jimmy VZ as well. You know, like, people seem to think that, you know, he's going to really swindle Buffalo, make us sit here and wait up until, you know, his the 3-year eligibility runs out, and then he's going to go into free agency and do what he wants, just like VZ, just like Peterson did when they signed elsewhere. Kind of funny. I know Cal Peterson had some shiny moments in LA too, but he hasn't shown he's been the clear-cut starter in LA. No. And we all know the story of Jimmy VZ. That guy,
he was never going to. No.
Yeah. So, I'm not. I'm not really convinced that that means Portillo is leaving. I was texting Eric last week, and where he's supposed to come on the show soon. Like, I find a hard time to believe that a kid is going to agree to come into a Buffalo Sabres podcast and when he plans on dipping out.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, with the goalie pick, from what I've heard, after the fact, it sounded like Buffalo, no matter what, wanted to pick up one person. And obviously, this kid, he's 17 years old. His deadline to sign an ELC is not until 2026. So this kid's going to be 21 when he finally needs to make a decision. So if in 4 years he fucking sucks, you don't sign him. But ultimately, if your goal was to pick one goalie and you just made 3 truly solid picks in the first round, I don't think anyone's complaining about any of the choices we made at 9, 16, or 28. Would I have preferred they take one of those right-handed defensemen that was right there? I would obviously prefer that.
Renzo.
If this is the goal that they had, that they wanted to pick up a goalie, the best goalie is still right there. You just made 3 solid picks. Seattle picked up a goaltender not too long down the road from there, maybe 5-10 picks after that. If you can get the best kid on the board, even though it is a relatively weak goalie draft, and that's something you ultimately want to target, grab this 6'6" monster who's 17 years old, give him a couple years over in Finland, I believe, and see what happens. We're not going to get a whiff of this kid in Western New York until he's 21, at least. Goalies take forever. That's what they kept saying. Omar took 6 years. Ryan Miller took 5 or 6 years. People who play the game at an elite level, it takes a long time. So this is chili you're sticking in the slow cooker. This does not affect UPL. This does not affect Portillo. This does not affect Levi. This doesn't affect anything happening for the next 3-4 years. Yeah. So I would have liked one of those nice RD picks that were still readily available. That would have been nice, but ultimately you can't say woulda, coulda, shoulda. The pick is what it is, and ultimately, if you're going to pick up the goalie, you might as well get the best fucking one, and that's exactly what they did.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Can't be that mad about it.
Going back to Savoy, like I said, we'll try and rip through this quick, but I definitely do want to bring a couple highlights up here, just to kind of go back to what we were saying. Just the skill. The season he had in the USHL, this past year in the WHL with Winnipeg, this kid's ceiling is sky high, and I think Kevin Adams really in terms of going heavy down the middle. One of the other points they made too after the draft was they wanted to find guys that were very hard to play against, and according to all the scouts, including Kevin Adams said that people are going to hate playing against these guys. They're going to be a pain in the ass. And, a lot of versatility. All 3 of these first round picks, they all can play center or on the wing, and they all have played center on the wing, which is a great thing to have, that type of versatility. You see it here with Reinhart playing, that last year here. He played almost the entire season at center and had his best year with Buffalo playing at center.
With basically no Jack Eichel. We forgot.
Yeah. Obviously, here we go. This is
Sabres are proud to select from Winnipeg in the Western Hockey League, Matthew Savoy.
My brother Bill looks great in a suit.
Yeah.
And he follows his brother Carter to the NHL. Carter, of course, drafted with the 4th-round pick by Edmonton a couple of years ago. Now, he had a shoulder injury in the WHL playoffs, but the one word I keep hearing whenever I've read anything about this guy, Matthew Savoy, is dynamic. Is that fair?
He just pops. When he's out in the ice, and JB, you and I were at the CHL Top Prospects game, and every time he was out there,
I love it that the Sabres fan being profiled at the bottom is wearing the completely wrong jersey.
But he's got that wall. Frame, and so
it's fine. Don't worry.
He passes it
he's wearing the right colors.
Watching an NHL game, and maybe the
he's not wearing a slug.
Is his ability to shoot the puck. He talked to his teammates, Connor McLennan. Oh yeah, this guy can really shoot the puck as well.
They're getting an array of forwards in Buffalo now: Tage Thompson, Jack Quinn, JJ Peterka.
Apparently they're not going to show any highlights.
Middlestead, Alex Tuck, Dylan Cousins.
We're just going to watch him walk up the stage.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is a highlight clip.
No, but we'll bring one up here real quick.
I mean, you missed the best part. He was about to show us the underlining of his Tigers.
Oh, the Tiger. The Tiger.
Tiger's fucking glorious.
Yeah.
What a fucking beauty. What a great kid.
I think there's something wrong with Phil.
Real quick. I didn't mean to sound unprofessional here, but I definitely wanted to bring up a few of his highlights here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There were a lot of stuff that really did stand out. once we get through the who's Phil.
Yeah.
We'll just get another one.
Let's see what's going on here.
It's a really good ad.
People are popping right now. Like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, we're just watching Plant.
Swatted down there by the Fighting Saints. And we'll dump it in from there as they get a line change. 1:17 to play. In this first period, a steal by Savoy. He's in, he scores! Oh my! Matt Savoy with a wonderful move as he strip steals a defender.
Singleton trying to hold it in, but it will come out to the neutral zone. And up the ice, here comes Savoy trying to get behind the defense. It slipped away. He finds it, and he buries it. Matt Savoy scores, and Alberta Yellow is on the board.
Nice goal by Matt Savoy.
The guy can
taking advantage of a little bit of a turnover there. In the
35 points and gets his first goal this season. And now here comes Savoy with speed. Right circle, charges in for him, scores! What a beauty! That didn't take long. That doesn't happen here today. Are the Fighting Saints who are off to a good start. Here comes Kirk through center with Savoy. Finds Savoy. Right circle, walking and shooting. Scores!
The last one we'll watch here.
Starting to get the vibe. He likes to beat you in close.
Yeah.
He really likes just riding up that right side. He can just find that hole.
Not bad.
Kid can thread the needle. Good for him. I think that was a little backhand beauty, a little decorama through the legs,
little tuck there, yeah.
Watching those highlights, a couple things. Kid can forecheck. The kid is not afraid to get involved in the forecheck and cause turnovers. Obviously, with the first two clips you saw there, he plays very well in small spaces, and his speed is elite.
Yeah, speed's becoming the name of the game in the modern league, and there were a couple grips, but he's so small. He's 5'9". Whatever, you can be 5'9" and still put on some mass, and as long as you got the speed, it doesn't matter if you're 5'9". No one's catching you. People catching Connor McDavid? No. That's why they're hooking him. That's why they're getting a call. And that's why they're going to score on you on the power play. You lose. It doesn't matter.
Again, with forwards, it's really, it doesn't matter the size. I mean, as long as he's good with the tough areas. And that's, again, Tampa's forwards. I mean, they're small. Again, they have some big boys for playoff hockey. But, I think Buffalo's, in the next 2-3 years, we're going to see Buffalo change their top six. And they're going to find some big boys for those third, fourth lines to play playoff hockey. And that's when it'll get exciting. You'll see these kids come through. But once they find those big boys to complement these kids, it's going to be fun to watch.
I do kind of hope they hang on to Brett Murray for that. If they just got to keep him in Rochester for a few more years.
A couple years to develop.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he could be a perfectly serviceable fourth-line guy. Like, in Rochester, he finds a way to stick his big fat ass in the middle of the crease, and no goalie in the world is seeing around that tower. If somebody else can do the work on the wall to put it towards the net, he can tip it in. He can make it happen.
Yeah.
Now, second pick at 16 for Buffalo was Noah Ostlund. Another center out of the Swede, out of, I believe he played – he played in the SHL in 2022. 11 games, no points, but he played on his junior team in Sweden. 42 points in 32 games. Had a great year. Smaller, again, not a smaller kid, but extremely fast, extremely dynamic. And one of the big things about him that people rave about is his vision, work ethic, and his playmaking ability. So again, that kind of reminds me a little bit when the way they've talked about him kind of makes me think a little bit of Sam Reinhart. Sam Reinhart was a very good playmaker, even though he played on the wing for most of his time in Buffalo. Just your guys' thoughts on Ostlund, and while you do that, I'll bring up a extremely funny picture I'm sure we all saw from his draft day yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear that Buffalo has a love affair with Swedish players, and honestly, so far for the most part, they've been paying off. I mean, no one's gonna say a bad word about Rasmus Dahlin in this house. We don't do it here. Rasmus Asplund, I thought it was fun. We were collecting all the Razmai. It's fun. I mean, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, I believe he's another fun Swede. We've got plenty. We got plenty in the pipeline. But yeah, I mean, this kid could just make absurd passes. Like, I'm not sure if it's quite at that Peyton Krebs level of just like finding lanes that most people just don't know exist. I haven't quite watched enough tape on this guy, but if it gets anywhere close to that point, and we got Krebs on one top six line and him on the other, setting up snipers like that fourth round guy that I'm sure we'll get to later. Another sniper named Victor. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I think, watching him play for Sweden and his playmaking ability, like in tight areas, is really good. I think, getting him, just he's got time. Again, they're not going to rush him. You're going to see the development model they've had, and thicken him up a little bit. And again, I mean, he's going to, again, thanks. He's going to have a couple of years to develop, to thicken out, and again, that's going to be his biggest thing over the next couple of years. And, the skill and IQ is there, and that's really what you're looking for. And he has that cerebral mind to make plays, which is important at the next level, and he's going to be a very good player for them for a long time. So
I couldn't agree more. And like it said, like that was just the one staple, and every single critique of him was unbelievable playmaker, possibly one of the better ones in the draft. And clearly he takes a great picture as well. So I real quick too, again, I'm really just gonna highlight the top 3 picks in terms of highlights here, but
we'll be here all night if we're going through all of them.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. No, absolutely not. But I'm excited. Losing of Softhand's vision of Noah Ostlund here. We'll bring this up real quick. But I'm excited. Like I said, I've one of the things coming into this draft was they needed to get better down the middle. I think they achieved that. And they just really restocked the pipeline for probably the next 3 to 4 years. I mean, when you have that many kind of picks, I definitely didn't expect Kevin Adams to make all of them.
The 2022
to possibly move
NHL
up,
Draft Guide.
To possibly move up into the first round, or maybe in the second round. Maybe try and get 4 picks in the first round with the amount of stock you had in the second and third. Maybe, I thought maybe a guy, Casey Middlestat, might have been on the block, because especially if you were going to go heavy down the middle, like Casey might be the
he still could. Yeah, but he still could be moved.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I just, you expect Jack Quinn and possibly JJ Paterka to be up at the big club next year. So they really need to restock Rochester, and, I think they did a good job of that, a very good job of that in this draft. So real quick here, we'll bring his, one of his player profiles up. Couldn't be more excited with
it is over 1,200 pages, jam-packed with insight.
Dynamic with the puck. Just,
so good. We just weave through traffic.
Yeah, just he's not afraid to go into those tough areas at all. Again, I mean, at the end of the day, that he's got his skill make. He's got skill. He's got playmaking ability. He can make plays on his own. I don't like the Michigan attempt, but
Yeah. We had a kid. We had a kid a couple weeks ago try the Michigan on me in a game. We were getting blown out, man. Like, we were playing against a bunch of like kids fresh out of college, 19, 20 years old. We're a bunch of old men, dude. We're just there to have a good time. We're getting blown up at like 8 in the third period, and the kid tries the Michigan, and he skates by me after he failed. It's like, you try that again, man, I'm gonna knock your head off your shoulders. Like, that's absolutely not.
Yeah.
The disrespect.
Like, just stop. As you can see here, man. Yeah, maybe he's a little bit lacking in size, but the kid just, like, his passing ability is just next level.
Yeah. his playmaking, like that play off the wall right there. I mean, it's ridiculous. This line was unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure he's 11, correct? Sweden?
Yes.
Spelar upp på backplats. Kan komma avslut här också. Men det var lite skott i konstskott här. Text på...
And here's the thing. This is the kind of highlights I like. You're not showing clips where he's just scoring goals. You're showing, how he plays away from the puck, his ability to distribute the puck, him leaving the zone, like right here. Unbelievable.
Jesus.
That could have been dangerous.
Yeah, it was a good
play. You can't wait for a pass like that to come to you, but that's no fault of Austin's, of course. Your pass is only as good as the person who receives it sometimes.
Just he's very quick and shifty in those tight areas.
Right
here. That's why the size isn't going to affect him. I don't see size effect because in those tight areas, his feet are always moving and getting moving. Great space for himself with the feet.
As long as he's on a roster with all these fast, high skill, high IQ players, people will eventually be able to predict how he's going to behave. Be able to create those lanes that just wouldn't exist on a different team.
With his size too, and again, a lot of these clips you're playing on the Olympic size rinks, but he uses his size to his advantage even for such a small frame, and he's so strong on the puck. Grant, we're not seeing him score goals here, but just look.
Yeah, I mean that's not everyone's job is to score goals. But if he's gonna feed like Jeff Skinner or Tage Thompson with a pass like that, or a Tage Thompson Jeff Skinner type, who's just gonna rip it. That's what you need.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, I love everything we're seeing out of Ostlund there. Again, strong on the puck, very shifty, and like you said, Kyle, his size is not going to affect him even at the NHL level. Just his IQ, his ability to find space, work in small areas, and use his size to his advantage. The elusiveness when he weaves through traffic, it was fun to watch those couple minutes there. So. Next pick was Yuri Kulik, a guy who I liked his interview when they asked him about his preparation.
Going in the NHL next year.
He's like, I'm going right to the NHL. He's like, those were his plans. I'm going to the NHL.
Yeah.
He's like, and I think it was Paul Hamilton might have said something to him. He's like, well, what if you don't? And he's like, I got no plans. I plan on being in the NHL next year. I mean, likelihood of that happening. Maybe not so much, but you got to love the confidence, right?
I mean, if he wants to come to Rochester at the age of 18, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But played for Chechnya this past season. And let's see here. I mean, he played, all the different teams he played for between international and junior. With Energy Karlovy Vary for Chechnya, his team name. 14 points in 49 games. But I said this too while we were covering the draft. It's like, I understand that sometimes these numbers aren't eye-popping, but you also have to realize they're playing in a men's league over there a lot of the time.
Men.
Yeah, they're playing men. Like in the SHL with some of these Swedes. Like they're not playing with kids their own age all the time. They're playing with men. I don't know.
I think his work ethic. I think his work ethic are a big thing. Again, if he wants to be somewhere, it looks like he's got the drive. When he went to U18, he put up 9 points in 11 games. I mean, the kid. What you said. I mean, people see 14 points. It's not a big deal, but there's a difference playing in the OHL and playing 16-year-olds and playing 25, 26, 30-year-old men. Big difference too. And when you're putting up any numbers and you're showing that you can, I would say, maintain an injury-free year against men too is very important too. Because those are things that again project down the line, like injuries. And that stuff's going to affect where kids land and all that. So, again, I think it's a really good pick. I think, again, a couple of years, third line skill guy for us. Very good.
100% agree. And out of his entire team, I'm looking at that team he played on. He's the only player that's been drafted by an NHL team. Only one. So
yeah.
Obviously he stood out above a lot of other people, other players. And again, he's not just playing with 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids there. These guys have been have been playing at the pro level to a certain degree over there for quite some time. And just to bring up again, this is the last time maybe we'll do it with the goalie here a little bit too, but real quick, bring up Yuri Kulik's kind of player profile here. And like I said, I don't want to spend too much time doing this, but
I mean, when I was watching the tape the other day, like what I saw out of this kid, when it came to the puck, he looked like a shark who just smelled blood in the water. This kid is relentless.
Yeah.
He does not stop.
I love the way he celebrates too. The kid knows how to celebrate.
It's just ridiculous. He just does not stop. Look at that. Out by the guy. That's my puck. That belongs to me. Doesn't give up on the to me, he strikes me as like an incredibly aggressive.
I'm liking these defensive zone highlights because you show the compete, the battle down low at the center. That's what wins right there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's playing the right way, and he goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think this kid's game is more 200 foot than just purely offensive. But I mean, again, he just seems like a more ruthless, vicious athlete. He's just not going to give up on it. He's going to grind it out, but he's going to grind it out with such a skill set that he's going to win the battle. He doesn't need to be the biggest, strongest, toughest dude to be an effective wall battling, forward checking or back checking guy. Uses tools.
But these are the types of plays that are what got him drafted, right? This is his ability to play in his own end, be responsible, and you look at the size of these players out here. None of them are very, very small, like we saw with Austin. These guys are men out here.
Yeah, I mean, of the first round picks, this kid's the biggest one. He's 5'11".
Yep.
He's not a huge dude, but I mean, Rasmus Asplund, he went in the second round. So kids that play that style of game, that full 200-foot game, responsible hockey. Those kids that are just going to put it all on the line to win the contest. You need to prioritize it. They did. I want to see him. If this kid wants to be confident enough to say, I'm just playing in the NHL next year, if he proves himself at prospect camp and he really wants to uproot his life and come to Rochester, I say give him a fucking spot. Buy the kid a plane ticket. Let's go.
Yeah, and especially I believe he's Czech, but a lot of these Russian players, a lot of teams were hesitant to pick Russians because of kind of the political climate in the world right now. And obviously, we've seen what happened most recently. The illegal ID thing that Yep. Sorokin was allegedly might have been involved. Was it Sorokin? Who was it involved?
Kaprizov, the kid from Minnesota.
Kaprizov, yeah. Kirill the Thrill was allegedly involved with distributing illegal IDs or something. Probably to bypass that whole military. What was the service, military service that you have in Russia? It's just a different dude. That whole the whole Russian culture, man. The way everything's run over there, it's just I would never ever want to live over there, man. I feel like you're just walking on glass everywhere you go. But yeah, we'll cut this short here. But again, obviously, you're not going to see a lot of scoring highlights from Yuri. But again, that's not why they picked him. They saw, as you mentioned there in the beginning, Kyle, his ability in his own end, his defensive play, his defensive prowess. He's a good 200-foot player. And it's just been, he's like Kevin said, a pain in the ass to play against.
Yep.
So, One of the last players we'll profile specifically because Kyle, I know you got to get out of here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
I got an early golf game myself in Batavia at Terry Hills.
Boy.
Oh yeah, 5:48 tee time. I didn't even realize they started that early.
Is the sun up?
Huh?
Is the sun up at that time?
I don't even know.
I don't even know. I don't like. It's close. That's close.
It's up around
it's close, man.
Yeah,
so,
like right around there. I mean, on the first hole, you I don't know if you're seeing the goddamn ball.
You might want to bring a flashlight back.
Yeah, seriously. Like,
I couldn't believe it when I booked at 5:48. I was like, I didn't think they booked them that early in the summer.
You got a headlamp, you know?
Yeah, like,
use a bright ball, right?
Are you going golfing or you going spelunking?
Ball, like here.
Pull out the iPhone and the iPhone flashlight. Get eyes on the ball. But early in their early pick at 41, Buffalo takes Tobias Lionen, goaltender out of Liga. Projected the best goalie in the draft, top goaltender in Europe. Again, I don't hate the goaltender. I just didn't like where they took him. And I get it. People are going to call it a reach, like you said, Kyle, because nobody else was taking goalies up until that point. But again, I mean, he's young, playing over in Finnish league, and that's a great league over in Liga. He didn't have eye-popping numbers to me, below 900 save percentage this season. Actually, no. And with 21 games in his junior team, his U20 team, he had a 916 save percentage. So, I mean, he posted a 9-10 record there. I mean, again, we weren't watching. We don't know how good his team was, but his numbers the past 2 years, they're all over the place, man. You have, in a couple games here, he's posting a 502, and then he's posting a 228 goals against, and then a 315, then a 261, then a 251. Kind of all over the place. So that's why I kind of said he seems more of like a project to me. The kid that has a high ceiling, 6'5", great athletic ability, but he's going to need a lot of work to get to where they project.
Yeah.
And again, goalies do take a longer time. And that's why I say I don't understand why people think that this kid screams Portillo is leaving. No, because I don't see him being ready for the NHL level for at least 3 to 4 years, if that. You know what I mean? Or maybe even more. It's like Steve said, by the time his
if anyone it's affecting, I think it's UPL. And they're like concerned with 100%. His injuries. I think that's who this pick is kind of backfilling, to be honest with you, because Portillo and Levi are obviously, those are the new up-and-comers, and UPL has been around, but the injury bug has gotten them quite a bit. And I think this pick is kind of, if he doesn't have, a year that's convincing and injury-free, this is, okay, now you got a couple of guys. Maybe we go after an older guy next year and see, I mean, again, I think this pick affects UPL more than anyone, not Portillo or Levi. I think, they're concerned with the injuries, seeing how to backfill it. You got Levi and Portillo filling Rochester probably next year. And then, UPL either's up or he's gone. So again, and then those two guys, will fill up in a couple of years into the NHL if they get there, and this guy will be there. I mean, it's such a long path for goalies, and UPL has been on the track for probably, 5 years now in the AA?
I think it's about 3 or 4, but still, before he even touched the AHL, the kid already had double hip surgery.
Yeah,
he's yet to really play an entire season. And when he has played, like, again, I understand Rochester was an absolute shit show defensively this past season, so you can't really put anything on the goaltender. But it's not like he's posting like jaw-dropping numbers. You know what I mean? Like, he played well in junior to get himself to being drafted by Buffalo, but there's zero consistency there from UPL, and the injuries are what, to me, stick out the most.
Yeah, But again, I think this kid's that kind of like next prospect up for a UPL fill. Like, because if it doesn't go well, that's what we're going to be talking about in the next, 3-4 years. Because Levi and Portillo already have I would say, clout per se with Buffalo fans. And this kid's going to be that next fill of, if those guys don't pan out, here's your next guy. So again, I don't mind the pick, I think, but it's obviously a long path, but I think it's a pretty good pick, to be honest with you. With, you're going to take the best goalie in the draft, take him, and, see what happens.
What's driving me nuts right now is I'm trying to find anything from this. There's not much.
You're not going to find it. You're not going to find it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the best stuff I can find is from 2 years ago, so I'll bring it up. But like, we're talking 2 years ago. You know, I mean, what does that tell you? Like, I love the size of the frame. The kid has athletic ability, but as I stated in the beginning, I was more of a guy. I was more with Lane Hudson still sitting on the board at 41. I was just like, how do you pass up on an opportunity, even at 5'8", like a kid that would make your power play so much more dynamic? It would be like almost having a fourth forward out there.
Yeah.
So for me, that was the biggest, the kind of the bummer for me. I'm gonna see if I can find anything relatively recent for Tobias.
Well, again, but and I'm gonna have to jump off here in a couple minutes. But you're talking about Lane Hudson, and then you read the write up on the Lindgren kid. Yep. Again, like some people had him as the best skater in the draft. So, like, I get what you're saying on the Lane Hudson one, but again, skating is everything for a D, and if this Lindgren kid is the best skater in the draft, then we got something.
I'm thrilled with the Lindgren pick. Thrilled with it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. I really, again, for them not picking D then taking him, it's like, okay, we're good. Good pick. Yep. So that's
following up after that pick would be Viktor Nuchev. I'm gonna let Steve try and pronounce that. 3rd round, 74th overall, out of Russia, 18-year-old, standing at the biggest player they've taken to this point outside of Tobias, who is 6'5" goaltender, at 6'2" left winger, playing out of Russia in the MHL last season, 40 goals and 67 points, with Avto Yekaterinburg. Yeah, that's definitely not right, but I'm not going to try it. Yeah, there you go. You're better.
He's Viktor Nuchev.
Agreed.
Kid's a fucking sniper.
Some of his highlights, the kid has a major league shot, Kyle.
Yeah. Again, scoring 40 goals in any league is impressive. Like, and again,
you could knock the red off a clown's nose. It's rough.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's shown consistency too, going back to 2019 with his U16 Russian team, 29 points in 34 games, 35 points the following season in 34 games. And then, he had a down year, if you want to call it, his first year in the M, 29 points in 43 games. And then again, he really broke out this season at 18, 67 points in 61 games. Again, a kid that, again, might be a little bit, a few years down the road, let him develop. But again, I love that pick, especially again with the culture and the climate with what's going on with Russian players right now. Maybe he fell there for a reason. Maybe teams were a little hesitant to take him. But I'm excited for that pick. I think that in terms of after our first two, I think he's one of the more exciting ones to me.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Again, pure goal scorers. You don't find them, and he's definitely one. Again, the Russian descent is probably the question mark why he fell. Yep. But again, you don't find pure goal scorers. They're hard to find, and this kid is one. Again, their comparison was the Ovechkin, like in that area, cocking for a shot, and I'll take that on our team. We've never had that. Thompson kind of did it this year a little bit whenever he had that shot, but again, Ovechkin is, comparison to Ovechkin in that area is impressive. I don't care who it is. It's really impressive. So,
Mats Lindgren follows up in the 4th round, pick number 106 overall. 17, drafted as a 17-year-old out of British North Vancouver, British Columbia, 6 foot defenseman, just under 180 pounds. Kyle, you mentioned best skater in the draft. Or allegedly the best skater in the draft, defensively.
Yeah.
Kamloops Blazers this past season, 44 points in 68 games. That's great for a defenseman. But I think the WHL had a great draft this year, too. A lot of players drafted out of the WHL this year. Big jump from his previous production the previous season with Kamloops and the USPHL, where he only had 10 and 11 points. So, really came into his own this past season with Kamloops. And, again, a very offensively gifted defenseman. Some of the stuff that I did watch on him, he loves to engage offensively, good first pass out of the zone. And like you said, unreal skating ability. Definitely excited to see what that can bring over the next couple of years, whether he stays in the WHL, goes up to Rochester. Again, I'm not too familiar with how all that stuff works, but one of the critiques was offensively, this kid can move the puck out of the zone. He sets up his transitional dekes well with his head, shoulder fakes, and can carve into the space provided. That was by the Elite Prospects 2022 draft guide. And he definitely went higher than a lot. Actually, no, he fell compared to where he fell a lot. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. So, Kyle, we will let you get out of here.
I got to run, but appreciate it, guys. Again, I thought overall the Sabres really good draft, stuck to their formula of what they've been doing. My biggest thing is, are we going to find another goalie this year? And that's a question we'll see. Huh?
Is it Kemper? Could it be Campbell? I know with them getting rid of Mraz.
I know they're trying. Someone close to me said Stolars still. They're still pushing Stolars.
I wouldn't hate that. It's better than what we got.
I've been hearing rumblings on WGR all day about Jake Allen from Montreal, who basically was their starter last year.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll see. But again, I'm excited for the year. It's just, free agency's coming. A lot of hopefully find some pieces to plug in and keep the young guys developing and the core developing the right way. That's the biggest thing is keep the development going the right way because that's what leads to success. And that's what led to the 06, 07, and those runs is development. It's not, there's no secret formula. And especially being in a smaller market, you need to let guys develop. You can't rush them. You need the right culture here. So, but again, really good draft overall. And again, Kevin's doing a good job. I think everyone when he was hired, as we said before, was now everyone's like, wow, this guy knows, the right buttons to push, and doing a really good job with that. So, but thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Have a, good rest of the show. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good weekend, Kyle. Tell the missus we said hello and take care of those fireworks.
Yeah, I'll see you.
All right, bud. Peace. Steve, we'll wrap this up. We covered Mats Lindgren. I do want to bring up some of his real quick. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the kid has unreal vision, and I'm excited. I wanted Lane Hudson really, 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 really bad, but you know what? I'll take Mats Lindgren. The kid has unreal skating ability. Vision, great first pass out of the zone, and can carry the puck very well. So real quick, we'll bring up his draft profile here.
Yeah. Lane Hudson didn't ultimately go until 62, so he was on the board for a while. But the pick directly after the goaltender pickup on Lennon, what was that? Noah Warren going right to Anaheim. I heard a lot of people.
Cool. Can we watch that real quick? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let's watch that one more time because I know I kind of like.
Oh, I think you can slow that down too.
This move. This move is insane. Oh, stops at time. See ya. That's like Tom Cruise in Top Gun where he hits the brake and just fly right by.
That's that moment in the movie where the record scratches. It's like, yup, that's me. I bet you're probably wondering how I ended up here.
Yeah.
As the skater's just like,
oh.
Oh, man.
Like I said, I like
that. Was in the NHL. That would have been the Daggett of the week. Oh, man. I like this color commentator. He's got some good goal calling. Calling good.
That puck had eyes. But
yeah,
definitely an insanely good first pass. One of the things is a good first pass out of the zone. From other highlights I watched, can carry the puck very well, dynamic with the puck, and just a great shot and just great offensive prowess, as you can see there in that video. So next pick off the board, and I'm gonna let you figure this one out, man. Because there's no typo here. That's a tough one. Komarov, the last name's easy enough.
Yeah, you recognize this is a Vsevolod Komarov.
Yeah, good luck.
Vsevolod Komarov.
Drafted for 5th round, 134 overall, standing at 6'2", 185 pounds, defenseman out of Russia. And again, I said they started off on the smaller, up the middle, and they're drafting for size on their blue line. Past season in the QMJHL with the Quebec Remparts, 19 points in 60 games. Again, obviously as a defenseman, I'm assuming he probably plays a little bit more of a gritty style. Takes care of business in his own end, which, Buffalo needs some of that down the line. Again, we looks like we have our top 4 figured out for the next, at least the foreseeable future. But a kid like this could really come into his own, hopefully the way Samuelson did for us this past season. And maybe we do see this kid up in Buffalo, again, a tall frame at 6'2", hopefully fills out and, can be, somewhere fit in that bottom pairing, down the line.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to note that of all of the Russians that have been drafted in the last 2 drafts, the Vsevolod here, our friend Komarov, I'm just going to call him Comey here, he's the only one that does not have an indefinite signing age. Like, Novikov, Poltapov, Sardarian, Nuchev, they're all, as is customary with most Russian signings, they don't really have that deadline. They either come over and sign or they just stay in the KHL and do whatever the hell they want. But with Komarov, he has the deadline of June 1st, 2024, which I think is kind of interesting. I'm not sure what exactly necessitates that, but that's ultimately how he falls. So that might put the impetus on the Sabres organization on getting some sort of veteran Russian presence to, I guess, kind of act as an ambassador for some of these younger players, because if the dominoes need to fall with at least one of the Russians by 2024, they might as well just try to make it happen en masse, like all these kids 2 years from now, we're going to know whether they're worth giving another call to, or it's like, well, if you want to just stay in the KHL, we wouldn't be mad about it. So,
all of it, I'm going to bring up, while you're talking, I brought up his, one of his profiles real quick here. It's a short one too, so we got some time.
Yeah, I think ultimately,
here. Vsevolod Komarov.
Yeah, just call him Komarov. V Komarov. Let's just go with that. But yeah, he's
that was him stepping up in the play. Man, the guy does look like he's already starting to fill out a little bit.
Yeah, they're made different.
I'm a reliable player in every situation. I'm good in the defensive zone, and I also like to join the rush. And he is a big boy.
Yeah, I think if you had him and you also picked up Noah Warren instead of that goalie.
Patrick Waugh chiming in there. Hold on.
Yeah, let's hear what he's got to say.
He's got great moves. I mean, has a really nice. He's very poised with the puck. Has a really nice first pass. We'll follow the play and we'll jump in the play. And he's got great moves. I mean, he's in great hands.
I like to compare myself to Cale Makar. I hope so, kid.
And he goes and he scores from one end to the other, and then.
How are you going to see a Cale Makar highlight in somebody else's draft?
Being drafted would be great because I want to keep working hard no matter the situation. I mean, for those just listening and not watching, obviously on YouTube, which I don't know why you wouldn't be watching on YouTube. The kid has such a large frame, and one thing that sticks out, again, you're just watching highlights, is that he loves to join the rush. And with that size, have fun stopping him. Have fun getting in his way because he's just going to skate up through you.
Yeah, you can hear the RJ call in your head as he comes down the ice. Are you listening, Karuba? He's just, Lumberger! He's just gonna fucking run over everybody.
Well,
yeah, I'm looking forward to the mass exodus from Russia to Western New York for this whole recent draft class here. Like those 3 kids from last year. I want to say it's Sardarian, who's actually already stateside. If I'm not mistaken, he's the one. I'm gonna double check that before I say. Yeah, he's with the Youngstown Phantoms. He's here in the States, and that was last season. So he's already here. Of course, we saw what was it, Novikov or no? It was no. Fuck. God, they all have basically the same fucking name. It's so hard to keep track. God, which one was he? Oh my god. God, which one of? He had his picture. He had that great fucking shirt on. Oh my god. He was. I think. Oh yeah, Kisakov. Duh.
Yep, Kisakov. In round 6, Buffalo went with the 107th overall pick. They went with a 17-year-old kid from Jacksonville, Florida. Not notably known for producing hockey players in Jacksonville, but right wing standing at 6'1". We have Jake Richard. Last season in the USHL for the Muskegon Lumberjacks, 48 points in 56 games. A little bit more of a playmaker. I'm trying to find some of the critique here on him. When you get to these guys a little bit later in the round, it comes a little bit harder to find, some like critiques of them and whatnot. But you take a right winger, a little bit bigger in size at 6'1". Again, when you get to this point, sometimes in the draft, you're drafting almost like best available, right? Sometimes, and but it seems to me that Kevin Adams and the staff, their scouting staff, kind of had a plan in place, and I feel like that's not maybe not the situation here in Buffalo, because they kind of made comments that every guy was drafted to fill a role because of certain roles that they play and certain attributes. So maybe not so much they were drafting for, at best available, but I like this kid a little bit. 172 pounds, 6'1", a right winger, again, out of Jacksonville, Florida. Played in the USHL, again, still very young, hasn't hit 18 yet, and a lot of room to grow there. And, again, I'm not sure where he's committed to playing next season, if it will be in the USHL again. Kind of trying to look here. I'm not seeing anything here, but excited for this kid. Again, any kid taken before the age of 18, I'm pretty pumped for. He was ranked number 111th by McKean's Hockey, and that's really the only ranking I hear of on the Elite Prospects page. But taken, again, falling to 170 at Buffalo, kind of seems like a good grab.
Yeah. He's it's tough to assess some of the players in the lower drafts because ultimately they're just not getting the face time that like your first round guys are ultimately going to get. There's just not as much tape on these kids. But yeah, it seems like the game plan here is more of a forwards first mindset. Yeah, they've got. They had a good balance of it in this draft. It's like we're going to have a good combination of both playmakers and finishers because we can't just have one and not the other. I think right now we have, at least in the current roster, we might have a few more playmakers than we do finishers, and I think maybe one extra finisher might be, very welcome in the forward core. And I think if, Jack Quinn or JJ Paterka reach even like 50% of their potential from what they were achieving in even a third of what they were doing in Rochester over here in Buffalo. I think that's some of the finishing power that you're looking for right there, an immediate impact from some of these young players that might get their first full season look.
And we got, again, little short highlight reel here that was uploaded 6 hours ago. Playing for a team here called the Florida Alliance. I'm assuming this might be some type of showcase.
Ooh, nice there.
Again, uses his size well. Ooh, Ooh.
Stayed with it, got the rebound. Nice.
I'd like to see that. Again, for those not watching, again, don't know why you're not watching. Stayed with the play and wrapped it around. Nice little wraparound goal. Didn't give up on the play. Very, very nice. Again,
I like that little gesture of the goalie coming all the way out of his crease to join the high five.
Look at that. Like how strong he is in the puck. Again, doesn't give up on the play. Goes to the net.
There he goes again.
Going to the net. You love to see it. Is this all in the same game?
I think it might be. Yeah, it looks like they're playing the same team the whole time. I think he got the hat trick. There it is.
I'm assuming that was him, correct?
Oh, that went in. That went in. Yeah, I think that's why he's celebrating so much. I think he got the hat trick in that game there. Good for him.
I just want to watch that first goal again real quick. Again, sticks with the play. He goes to send the puck out front. For those not watching, goes to send the puck out front. Gets picked off, but the puck comes right back to him. Sticks with it. Uses his speed around the net and his size and frame and wraps it around on a very confused goaltender for the goal. And then again, you said it looks like he had a hat trick in this game. And then again, right here,
comes goal number 2.
Used his size, weaves through traffic, holds onto the puck, throws it to the net. Doesn't give up on the play, goes to the net, and there he is for his second tuck of the game.
Yeah, finds the loose change
from the point. Boom.
Point beats him.
Hammers it home for the Hattie.
It's like, yeah, I did it. I did it.
Boys. You love to see that kind of passion.
Yeah,
100%. But Jake Richard in the 6th round, followed up by one of my favorite first names of the draft, Gustav Karlsson, out of Sweden.
All right.
Again, another center at 6'1", 165 pounds, shoots left-handed, of Orebro, Sweden. In this past season, again, he bounced between his junior teams and in the SHL, where he played 2 games, didn't record any points, but with his junior national team, is J20 National, 48 points in 41 games. Again, just a kid with a little bit of a bigger frame, 6'1", down the middle. And I'm here trying to find where he was ranked. Ranked number 97 by Elite Prospects. Our buddy Cam Robinson over there might have took part in that ranking. Ranked 238 by FC Hockey. Ranked 59 by NHL Central Scouting for European skaters. Ranked 162 by Recruit Scouting. And then, let me see here, 105 by the Puck Authority. So a little bit all over the board there, but it kind of seems that we might have got a steal here at 187. Again, I love how they're transitioning towards, Russian and European players, because that's kind of where the game is going. It's all about speed and skill. It's not so much about, grit and size anymore, even though I think there is a bit place for that in the game. But again, another kid taken out of Europe, Gustav Karlsson.
Another Swede.
Another Swede. Seems to be a goal scorer, 31 goals last season in 41 games. So, which that kind of stands out a lot. You know what I mean? Like more than half a goal a game, essentially, if you want to break that down. So, their second to last pick was Joel. I'll let you pronounce this one. I got
Joel Ratkovic Berntsson.
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 Yeah. But
we'll just call him Joel the Rat.
Yeah, Joel the Rat. 6 foot right winger out of Sweden. Last season in Frölunda, 49 points in 47 games. Again, another seemed a little bit more of a playmaker. 22 goals in 47 games. Ranked 215 by FC Hockey, 174 by Recruit Scouting, and 189 by Draft Prospects Hockey. Again, probably fell right around. It kind of seems probably the closest out of all the players we picked to right around where their ranking was. So, yeah. Again, not much known about him. Again, they're not really giving you too much in terms of critique here. But let's see what we can find on the good old YouTube. Since I think we've kind of moved along this pretty quick, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think obviously some of these kids, their evaluations were affected by those COVID short seasons without fans.
I guess YouTube's got nothing for us. They got nothing for us.
I'm sure. Give it a day or two, kids. Somebody will kick up something on the internet there. Just give it time.
Yeah. But we will go to the final pick of the draft for Buffalo. Another Linus.
Another Linus.
Stroden. Two rankings. Number 220 by McKean's Hockey, 146 by Recruit Scouting. Playing out of Rugul BK in the SHL. I'm assuming that's where he's committed to playing next season. But this past season for his junior team out of Rugul and in the SHL had 11 points in 49 games. Again, in the SHL, you're a kid playing with men in those leagues. So again, those aren't eye-popping numbers, but at the same time, in the same breath, like he's not necessarily playing against other 17, 18, 19-year-old kids. He's playing with much older, much more experienced players in these leagues. From the Elite Prospects Draft Guide in 2021, I'm guessing this means he was eligible for in 2021 as well. I'm assuming. Let me see here. Actually, no, he was eligible. No, he was eligible last season too. He's 19 years old. Stroden's handling skills keep you watching. Not only does he possess the hand speed, they are lightning quick, and I just dropped. Okay, sorry about that, guys. My screen just went blank. Not only does he possess the hand speed, they are lightning quick and the creativity, but he prepares his moves well. Stroden brings the puck at his hip as defenders rush him and waits for the precise moment where they commit to a poke check, to toe drag, or use his skate blade to bounce the puck around them. Again, that was from the Elite Prospects 2021 Draft Guide. Now, let's see if we can end it on a high note here. Maybe YouTube can help us out. Let's see what they have for us.
Well, if they were trying to evaluate him the year before, then yeah, they might actually have some tape on him.
Agreed.
It's possible. But yeah, I mean, you had another Swede, and strong with 2 Swedes in the 7th. Why the heck not? I like the idea of Joel the Rat. I like Jordan. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, with those later picks, you never really know what's going to shake out. Sometimes this is the first and last time you ever hear those names when it comes to these organizations. And, I mean, that's the great part of actually taking the time to develop these kids. Take your time to see if they can actually become something. And then, if they don't, it wasn't a detriment to your National Hockey League team. But if they do, great. You just got another tool in the tool chest that some other team doesn't have.
Yeah.
You could either leverage for something you need or...
I don't want to see any interviews here. Here we go. Let's get to the good stuff. It's not like we can understand that anyway.
Man kör med CCM nu så man är inte riktigt van att grejer med, men det tycker jag blir lösningen ganska bra. Det kommer väl bli bättre på
Again, just some practice highlights. I couldn't find much in-game stuff, but big kid for sure.
Yeah, I mean, God bless Chris Baker. I'm sure he's going to have to on all these kids for the years to come.
That's a guy we got to get on the show too, especially after the draft is trying to be reached around with us.
It goes without saying. I mean, if he was willing to do the
good-looking kid
with Marty and Duffers, I mean, I'm sure he'd want to come out.
Yeah, so
which actually isn't even in the Instigators anymore. Didn't they change the name of that program to something else?
Sabres Live.
Sabres Live.
Sabres Live.
So does that mean fucking Craig and them going to get their name back? What's up?
I don't think they care to have their name back, to be 100% honest with you. I think their name now is phenomenal. So I have no issues with it.
After the whistle, yeah, it's definitely a good name. But, I can also see them being like, well, we only changed the name because we technically didn't own it. But I think they definitely fit the name a lot better than Artie and Duffers. No offense to them, do a decent job with the podcast they have, but like they weren't instigators. Pretty happy, positive guys. Not very adversarial, but sometimes you get on that after the whistle, and they're giving JR they're giving JR plenty of shit on a constant basis. You kind of have to love it.
Yeah,
I've been listening to that quite a bit. I like the rapport that those three have when they get together and just start talking smack on whatever the hell's going on. I love it.
We got one comment in the peanut gallery. My concerns about some of them, we have a horrible track record when it comes to the Czech players, i.e. Matej Pekar, Václav Kerbetek, and Yuri Novotny. Oh, there's a name drop. Yuri Novotny. Yep. Former first-round pick, Yuri Novotny. Again, it's hit and miss sometimes, but again, I have faith in this scouting staff. They seem to have done a very, very good job. And I'll even give some credit to going back to Jason Botterill too. Jason Botterill did make some good draft picks at his time with Buffalo. So, the last two regimes, at least from scouting perspective, you can't be too upset with some of the players taken. And going back to this last draft, the last two drafts, go look at guys like J.J. Paterka, Jack Quinn really came on. Again, those are early picks. Acquiring Devin Levi in the Sam Reinhart trade, obviously he was a big reason, a big part of that trade. Eric Portillo, guys they've picked. I have faith in the scouting staff, and I have faith in Kevin Adams, man. In Kevin, we trust. And, I didn't think a couple of years ago I would be saying that now, but, I'm more surprised than anybody. I have my full faith is in Kevin Adams right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth making note that obviously with the exceptions of the obvious choices like Jack Quinn and J.J. Paterka, who are both turned out to be great guys. 4 picks from last year's draft have decided to join the fold and sign ELCs this year. Olivier Nadeau, Alexander Kisakov, who was there at the draft last night, Josh Bloom, Isaac Rosen, who is the...
I'm excited for Josh Bloom, too, by the way.
Yeah, Josh Bloom is going to be a fucking stud. Yeah, I mean, Isaac Rosen's in the mix now, too. He was picked 14th overall last year. So, I mean, like, there's clearly a cultural shift. Like, and I know a lot of people are still burning the Cal Peterson thing, but, like, if you look at the landscape of the National Hockey League right now, like, historically, yes, Buffalo has been in a bad way. But they have truly turned the corner, and they are not in the sad state of affairs that some teams are like. I mean, as we talked at the beginning of the show, they're tearing the house down and they're building something that I'm not even sure they know what it looks like yet, because right now they're just acquiring the lumber and the nails that they need to put this new thing together. And in order to do that, they got to tear all the pipes out of the walls and sell them to the scrapyard. For a fun home restoration analogy. The Sabres are also not in the sorry state of affairs that the Philadelphia Flyers are in right now. Like, geez Louise, they just keep making just mind-bogglingly poor decisions, like picking up Tony DeAngelo for 3 picks, extending Rasmus Ristolainen after you saw exactly what he's capable of. Paying him even more to stick around longer. I just don't get I don't understand what the roadmap to success looks like in Philly. But it's got to be like the Jeremy Bearimy map from The Good Place, where it's just kind of all over the place, and like how they explain how time and space works. It just doesn't make any fucking sense down there.
No.
And I think Tortorella's gonna have a fucking aneurysm when he gets behind that bench. He's gonna smack the goatee off Risto's face. He's gonna dude is gonna lose his mind and basically just give up on coaching hockey for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
I do not. That's gonna be a fucking fantastic train wreck. It's almost gonna be entertaining if it wasn't so fucking painful. Like, having been a fan base that's just been suffering. Like, yeah, you do hate to see it happen to another team. Like, it's what they constantly say on the Steve Dangle podcast. They're bad on accident.
Yep.
This isn't Chicago deliberately just fucking destroying everything to build something completely new. These are choices that they're making that they think are good. This is what they consider sound decision making. And it's going to be fucking notoriously awful. And the other end of the spectrum of the rebuild, like Montreal made out like bandits in this draft. They did such a good job picking. Like, yeah, you can question whether or not they should have picked Shane Wright at the first start, but like every other pick beyond that point, they were just scooping up gem after gem. They were just scooping up great. Like, they got your boy Hudson. They got the guy that you wanted real bad.
Yep.
Second
I
round.
wanted real bad.
They got so many good players. Didn't they get? They were the ones that got Doc, right?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, they got fucking Kirby Doc out of all this too. Along with some pick. Like, come on. Like, how much more could you have gotten out of that? Like, yeah, I kind of want to just go through that real quick. Like, for the amount of shit that Montreal went through last year, they did a really fucking good job drafting this year. You know, Slavkovsky, obviously, Philip Massar, Lane Hudson, fucking, like, god damn, like so many good kids here. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Owen Beck, like, that kid's gonna be a fucking, like, come on. They did a great job, you know? Mad picks. That's exactly what you need to rebuild a team. And, you know, I think they're looking in the right direction. But, like, that's all to say that, like, I don't think Buffalo's in the sorry state of affairs that people think that. I think it's just like Sabres fans have just, you know, they've seen the optimism build, they've seen the silver lining in the cloud, and they've been let down before, so they're still not totally like all in on taking their foot off the brakes and just pedal to the metal. Let's just go all in. Let's fully have faith again that this is really gonna fucking work this time.
Yep.
And I think that, like, I think that we've been given enough proof over these past 3 years that things are getting much better than they're getting worse. Like, yeah, there's going to be some growing pains. It's entirely possible we're just a middling team next year in the standings, but, like, God, it's so much better than it's been in such a long time.
The culture is
ridiculous. All these kids are just humble. They're hungry. They want to build something. They want to do it together. And no one's trying to be like, I'm the fucking guy. We're the fucking team.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you know, we're in this together through thick and thin. And one thing I do want to give a shout out to Dave Stefanik Jr. His team, the Junior Rangers, won the Brick Invitational in West Edmonton, which is played at a shopping mall. I want to just give a couple of clicks to him. Kid out of Orchard Park, friend of the program with his dad, Dave Sr. Gonna bring up the team picture here in a second. You love it. And the trophy is absolutely beautiful, man. Trophy is absolutely gorgeous. As a kid, you dream of winning trophies like this. So I'm gonna bring that up real quick here before we head out. A couple clicks for Dave. You know, phenomenal achievement. And again, how often do you get to say you won a championship inside of a mall? I don't know if you can see that or not, but the Junior Rangers.
Oh yeah, there's the Forever 21. Good for them.
Yep.
Yeah, where's the Orange Julius though?
Yeah, right.
How do you not put the hockey rink right next to the food court in the mall?
I know, right? It's such a pretty cool. It's played in West Edmonton.
I would go eat at that mall every fucking day. I don't care what, like, you could just have like 10 fucking Little Caesars. I don't care. I'm sitting there eating breadsticks, watching some kids play a little pickup game on my lunch hour, or like watching kids learn how to skate and like moms falling on their butt. That'd be hilarious. That'd be a great way to spend my day at the mall. I'd go to the mall if every mall had a hockey rink. Let's go to the mall. Let's go buy something in a store in person instead of paying shipping. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to go to the mall, get a couple laps in on the ice, you know, just Got nothing better to do.
There's a lot of hype around this kid out of Orchard Park. David Jr. Stefanik, again, his dad, also a goaltender. So a couple clicks for him. Good for him. Congratulations, and a lot of great things there in his future. So with that being said, Steve, I got nothing left other than this has been brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case over on Georgia River Boulevard. Make sure you get over there and let them know 2 Goalies, 1 Mike sent you for all your adult beverage needs. So, Steve, if you don't have anything else, I'm willing to hit the hay as I have an early day tomorrow.
I got an early day myself. I'm heading to Albany for my niece's 5th birthday, so I was gift shopping before the program began. That's why I was a little late. But yeah, I got to hit the road nice and early for that birthday party tomorrow, so I will also need to hit the hay real quick here too. Yeah. But bring a flashlight. You're going to need it on that first hole there.
Thanks again to Kyle for hopping on with us. Always a pleasure to have him on. Great insight, especially with younger players and in terms of development. You're not going to find a better hockey mind in Western New York probably than Kyle Quick. So thanks again to Kyle. Steve, always a pleasure. This has been episode 103 of 2 Goalies, 1 Mike. Probably take a little break for a week. I will be in Albany next week. Oh, actually, real quick, I do want to mention Sabres development camp schedule has been announced next week. It will be kicking it off on Wednesday, July 13th. They'll have on-ice sessions, 2 of them, one starting at 2:30 and the second starting at 4. Thursday, session 1, 9:30 in the morning. The second one starting at 11. And then Friday, July 15th, I should be home from Albany for that one at 9:15 and at 10:45. Hopefully we'll be able to get some FaceTime with both the future goalies of the Buffalo franchise in both Eric Portillo and Devin Levi. So super excited to be a part of that. I would say this is probably the most hype we've had for a development camp probably since Eichel's draft year when they filled the arena.
Oh man. All this stuff is happening while I'm at work. Farts.
Yeah, hey, buddy. At least you're in the state. At least you're in the city. I won't be. I'll be in Albany. So.
I'm still gonna be stuck in my dumb office. I can't just duck out and do this. Man, I wish I could though. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but hopefully maybe I can connect with Devin. I know he gets in on the 10th. Maybe I'll be able to connect with him on Sunday. Get some wings. I have some hash of goat swag to get him for coming on the show.
So you taking them to Elmo's or Duff's?
We'll figure it out, bud. We'll figure it out. But listen, been a pleasure, Steve. This has been episode 103 of 2 Goalies, 1 Mike signing off. We will talk to you next week. Peace.